community.
Because we're so proud of them, and we need to honor them. We need to reestablish that tradition that you have to serve your country, that freedom is worth fighting for.
I see faces that represent this community, St. Charles Parish, but I also see faces that represent so much more by your time in service.
And no matter the conflict or branch of service, our veterans certainly appreciate the gesture.
I'm really excited because our parish is pro-veteran. That's what I love. They all support our veterans, and that's good. That's really good.
I'm so happy and I'm so proud of all of our parish leaders for wanting to have an activity like this on a yearly basis to recognize us military and our sacrifices.
Love talking to them about their experience as veterans and their experience as lifelong St. Charles Parish residents.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, November 18, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance from Pastor Zachary Adams with the Lord's House Community Church in Loop.
Thank you. Bow your heads with me. Father, we just thank you for tonight, Father. God, we ask that, Lord, that your presence would be here in this place. Father, we ask, God, Father, that every decision that's made tonight, Father, everything that is discussed, Father, we ask that your wisdom, Father, would be poured out over everything, your guidance, Lord. Father, we ask that every step that is taken, Father, for the betterment of this parish, Father, Lord, that it be guided by you, Father. Lord, we ask that your presence, Father, your love, your mercy be poured out over every person here, every council member, Father. Father, we just thank you, God. We thank you, Father, for everything that you do, every step that you guide, Lord. Your word says, God, that you, Father, guide the steps of a righteous man, Lord. So we ask, Father, that you would just guide the steps of your people tonight. And Father, we ask all of this and pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Adams. All right, A motion and a second is needed to approve the minutes from the budget hearing of October 29th, 2024, the budget hearing of October 31st, 2024, and the regular meeting / budget hearing of November 4th, 2024. I have a motion by Ms. Skiba, second by Mr. Carmadell. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass, etc. 2024-0373, a proclamation, National Adoption Day. Mr. Mobley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas National Adoption Day was established in 1999 by a coalition of national partners, including Alliance for Children's Rights, the Children's Action Network, and the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. And whereas in 2002, the coalition gained the support of the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute, and by 2003, there were already 120 jurisdictions nationwide observing National Adoption Day, and whereas there are currently many thousands of children in the adoption system waiting to be adopted from foster care to their forever homes, and whereas National Adoption Day is commemorated every year in the United States on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. This day focuses on children waiting for permanent, loving families, and whereas during this annual event, courts and organizations in more than 400 communities across the county have opened their doors to finalize and celebrate adoptions from foster care, and whereas since its inception, more than 85,000 children in foster care have been adopted on National Adoption Day. And whereas the key goal of National Adoption Day is to raise awareness of foster children in need of new families through adoption. Now therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, as National Adoption Day in St. Charles Parish, and encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of adoption and share the belief that every child deserves a permanent home and loving family. Is Miss Crystal Short here tonight? She is here to accept the proclamation.
One more.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Short. I am the adoption supervisor for Thibodeau Region. I just want to thank you all for giving me my first proclamation. This is my first one in the 3 years that I've been supervising. And I just want to say thank you again, and just to let you all know that Thibodeau Region did finalize 83 adoptions for the last adoption year. So we off to a great start this year with finalizing at least 10 already since October 1st. So thank you for whoever played a role, a family member that played a role, and I just want to say thank you and continue to do a great thing for our children.
Thank you, Ms. Schott. 2024-0374, proclamation, Norco Christmas Parade Day. Proclamation, whereas the community of Norco is rich in history and tradition, and the Norco Christmas Parade, an annual holiday event, is part of this tradition. And whereas on Sunday, December 1st, 2024 at 1 p.m., the Norco Civic Association will parade with this year's theme being Norco Noel, Santa Goes to the Olympics. And whereas this parade is designed to usher in the beginning of Christmas season and further the sense of community in Norco. And whereas residents of the entire parish are invited to come to Norco and join in the festivities. And whereas this event is organized by the Norco Christmas Parade Committee of the Norco Civic Association, all who have volunteered their time to make this event possible. And whereas the residents of St. Charles Parish are truly grateful for their dedication and hard work. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president do hereby proclaim Sunday, December 1st, 2024 as Norco Christmas Parade Day. Be it further resolved, on behalf of the citizens of St. Charles Parish, we do hereby extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to the Norco Civic Association, the Norco Christmas Parade Committee, and all those who are making this community building event possible. And I believe we have Mr. Stephen Weber and the members of the Norco Christmas Parade Committee to accept this. Would y'all come up, please?
Should be country. I read it like you said, country. Misprint.
First, I want to give a lot of thanks, public thanks. This is a parade that was reestablished actually in 2001. I want to thank Parish President Jewell, the entire St. Charles Parish government, the council, especially Public Works, Irvin Fauché, Dominic Brown, who we spent a lot of time with in doing in this parade, and Recreation. I want to thank the Civic Association Committee, who give it their time free. For sure, I want to thank Sheriff Greg Champagne and the Sheriff's Department who come out there and do a great job on Parade Day, and our two major sponsors, Shell Narco and Valero. With that said, this parade is dedicated to Tim Mayu and Mayu Helicopters. A lot of people know Tim. He tragically passed away this past year. His wife, Dawn, and their family will be our grand marshals. Tim, I don't even remember how it started, but in 2001, he showed up and volunteered his time in his helicopter, and he flew every year since 2001 to the North Pole, picked up Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus and brought him to our parade, saved a lot of mileage for the reindeers, and helped us out. So the parade is dedicated to Tim, and we're looking forward to it. I really think that this parade ushers in the Christmas season for the river parishes, not just St. Charles Parish, and hopefully we have great weather. At 12:40, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be landing about that time, and the parade will begin shortly afterwards. So thank you all. Thanks for supporting us since 2001. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, reports, finance and administrative activities. 2024-0375. River Parish's Transit Authority. Ms. Thompson and Ms. Jones.
Good evening. My name is Anatola Thompson, and I work for Solution, and we provide the accounting and oversight for the River Parish's Transit Authority. And I'll let Ms. Jones introduce herself.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Jones. I'm the operations supervisor for the RPTA. The River Parish's Transit Authority 2024 St. Charles Council presentation. We are on-demand service since February 2009. The fares hasn't changed since 2009. It's still $2 one way. Our service hours are Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and Saturday from 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Our connecting services are St. James Parish Transit, Jefferson Transit, and the RTA. The RPTA purchased 2 replacement service vehicles available on state contract. Both vehicles will be delivered. They're supposed to be delivered this Thursday. But at the time this was prepared, Miss Stacy didn't know. So, the replacement radios and associated equipment were purchased through the state contract and delivered earlier this year. The RPTA issued 2 requests for, I think this is you. Okay, I'm sorry. The RPTA issued 2 requests for proposals, RFPs, during 2024, including an RFP for the provision of the oversight of operating, administrative, and financial aspects of the RPTA service, which was awarded to Salutin Incorporated, an RFP for the provision of the RPTA's operations and grants management, which was awarded to Transdev Services Incorporated. The comprehensive RFP process for both projects was meticulously designed to assess the technical and commercial viability of our operations sourcing strategy. The board appointed subcommittees for each RFP that thoroughly reviewed contractors' proposals, conducted interviews and Q&A sessions, engaged in negotiations, and ultimately made recommendations to the board. And next is the areas in which we service. It's kind of a large area in which we service. Our total ridership, 2023 ridership was 18,799. 2024 year-to-date as of October 31st is 16,501. We have 3 vehicles in service for a total of 43 hours weekdays, 2 vehicles in service for a total of 28 hours Saturdays. And the next slide, you can see where our ridership has fluctuated over the years, from 2019 to 2024. Thus far, in 2024, an average of 28% of all rides originated and 25% ended in St. Charles Parish. Cities, towns include but are not limited to Luling, Destrehan, Hornville, Booty, Paradis, St. Rose, Ama, Des Allemands, and Norco. The majority are work-related, with people going to and from their places of employment. The remaining trips are primarily to and from medical appointments, predominantly dialysis. The RPTA has increased services twice in response to passenger demand. Saturday service began February 2014. 2 buses in service for a total of 28 hours. Weekday extra hour of service began March 2017. 2 buses in service beginning at 5 a.m. rather than 5:30 a.m. We incorporated a new scheduling system, Cityways, a new way to RPTA. In April 2021, the RPTA rolled out a 90-day soft launch of the Cityways Link application, followed by a hard launch in August. Link is an on-demand service scheduling system that allows passengers the ability to book trips on the RPTA website as well as the app available on Apple and Google Play stores. Passenger response has been extremely positive, with nearly 80% of all bookings made through the website or app and average trip ratings of 4.98 stars. Moreover, shared booking rates are higher and mileage and fuel consumption are lower, thereby making the system overall much more efficient and cost-effective.
Okay. The funding sources for the River Parishes Transit Authority come from the Federal Transit Administration and the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, and those funds are used for capital improvements, preventative maintenance, and operations. The fare box revenue is approximately 2.88% of the cost, of the operating costs. The local match is provided by the state, which is the $75,000, which comes from the funds that are shared among other areas, which has decreased here recently. And then we also get $125,000 respectively from both St. John and St. Charles. Challenges. Transit systems, they don't pay for themselves with fare revenue because, as the previous slide showed, we only collect about 2.8%. It only covers 2.88%. So movement from more rural service to more urban areas has greatly reduced our income from the state. Several federal grants that were once available are no longer being offered by FTA. We did get 100% CARES fund from the FTA, and then we got subsequent ARPA and CRISA funding from the FTA, but no additional funding from either of those two sources are expected. So due to the 100%, no local match required of those disaster response funding, we're using those remaining funds, carryover funds, to cover an average of a 20% monthly deficit. That is all for our presentation. Corey Fauché is our chairman of the board. Emile Broussard is the vice chairman. Garrett Monty is the at-large for St. Charles. Then you'll see the St. John and the St. James representatives, and then TransDev and Solution. And on the last slide, you have all of our contact information. Does anyone have any questions?
Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at the coverage map, the area coverage map. It doesn't look like any portion of St. James is covered, if I'm looking at it right.
The only part of St. James that is covered is we go as far as the Golden Grove truck stop. That's the furthest that we are allowed to go because they have their own transit system.
Okay. That is why they don't contribute to the RPTA?
Correct.
Yet they have a board seat?
Because it encompasses the River Parishes Transit Authority. The bylaws say that we must have representation.
Okay, thank you.
So you were saying you're covering the 20% monthly deficit, and I guess the RFP you did on Transco, that's wrong. Are they the ones you're going to be using to help you get the grants and see what's available? Is that what you did that service for?
Correct.
Okay. Have you?
And then they do the operations too. They're the ones that provide.
They're running everything on the part of it. Do you see, since you're a little bit more closer than we are, do you see any grants being announced, or is there any?
Not right now, but we are constantly looking. We're on the list for FTA, which notifies us when grants come out, and then we're actively looking at other areas as well.
Okay. And then the other company is handling all the accounting. That's why you're able to provide us those numbers and
correct
efficiency part of it.
We provide the financial statements each month to the board. We assist the third-party auditor when they're auditing the books. We provide all the necessary information to them.
Okay. Ms. Wilson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. Here in St. Charles, we originated 28% of the rides. What's the percentage for St. John and St. James?
Do you have that offhand? No. What we can do, she doesn't have that offhand, so we'll get that information and we can get it to the board.
Okay, all right.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate y'all coming in tonight.
Right, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, 2024-0376, Workforce Innovations and Opportunity Act. Mr. Tommy Scott.
Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. Chair, council members, President Jewell. My name is Tommy Scott, the director of Let's Work River Parishes. I'd like to begin the day. I know we have a fairly new council, if you will, so I just want to give a quick summation of what exactly is Let's Work River Parishes, because I get that question a lot. As I travel through the parishes, people say, I hear workforce development, it sounds good. What exactly do you guys do? So I'll give you a quick breakdown. So depending on how long you've been around St. Charles Parish, you may have heard of JTPA, you may have heard of the Business and Career Solution Centers, you may have heard of WIA, and now we are WIOA. New governor, new vowel was added to that. And now we are Let's Work River Parishes, right? So the reason why we renamed ourselves Let's Work River Parishes is because a lot of people, they would associate us with the unemployment office, right? And although there is a division of the Louisiana Workforce Commission that covers unemployment, I like to tell people we are actually the reemployment office. We are the office where you come to obtain lucrative career opportunities. So essentially, WIOA, which stands for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, we are a federally funded program. The federal government gives money to the state. As you know, the state consists of 64 parishes. Those 64 parishes are combined into 15 workforce areas. Okay, so our workforce area is the St. Charles Parish Consortium. So we include our neighboring parishes of St. John the Baptist and St. James as well. So essentially, we cover the river region. All right. So we are a twofold organization. Now, we assist job seekers, which are our residents, with job search, resume prep. We even cover post-secondary training, so those individuals can acquire credentials that will make it easier for them to transition into and throughout the workforce. On the other side, we also assist businesses. We help employers if they are seeking to hire individuals. We help them pre-screen those candidates. We will help them by holding recruitment events. They are even able to utilize any of our office space at no cost whatsoever. And if they have some sort of huge project or a large hiring wave, we are even able to customize training programs and regimens that can help those employers fulfill their workforce needs. So ultimately, we are the liaison amongst employers and job seekers. And our mantra is simply put, we put people to work. All right? We have an extensive list of partnerships. Some are mandated partners, but some are other partners that basically make it easier for us to be the one-stop shop, if you will, for workforce solutions. So, of course, we have our workforce board. We have a very great relationship with our local technical college, RPCC, as well as Fletcher, the United Way of St. Charles, all of our parish governments, economic development, and also the school districts. We have a local workforce development board, which is essentially our council. And our council, it consists of individuals from all three of our parishes that are able to assist us and assist us by providing labor market data and also industry trends so that we can figure out the best way to disseminate our funding to ensure that we get the best return on our investment, which is ultimately getting our residents employed and ensuring that our businesses can thrive. Kevin Hebert is our chairperson, a local business owner of Fast Signs. We have Corey Fauché, our economic development director, who I just learned is on a lot of boards, apparently. He's also on our board. We also have Ms. Tricia Thompson, who's HR with Dinka PE, Garrett Monty, who's also a local business person, and also Serena Lorette and Penelope Shoemaker, who is the Dean of the Technical College. And the reason why I just mentioned those is to show that we have a great array and a variety of individuals from all the parishes, but also business and industry, training providers, education, K through 12. That's what composes our board. Business services, again, we assist with job postings, labor market information, and even on-the-job training. And we basically utilize and disseminate our funding just based on the studying of that data. I've just included just the unemployment rate, just for example, it's 3.9% in St. Charles Parish, it's 5 even in St. John, 5.3 in St. James. That gives us an average of 4.7 in the River region. The state average is 4.3%. So you can see we kind of have some pockets in our area that are at a level that's better than the state average, and then others where, you know, we need to kind of direct some of our resources. Our area, just regionally, just comparing average data, the average hourly wage in the River region, $42.50. In the state, $29.88. The average weekly wage, $1,700 in our region. In the state, it's $11.95. And the average annual wage, again, in our region, $88,400, but in the state, $63,140. And that is awesome, because what that states is that not only is it great to live in this parish and our neighboring parishes, but it shows that we are thriving. It shows that we have an economic ecosystem that's conducive to our residents not only being trained, but being able to acquire lucrative career opportunities. And it also shows that we're doing a great job of retaining those individuals that transition throughout our school system. We are keeping those individuals in the parish, but also attracting individuals to come move to the parish and take advantage of our economic ecosystem. Individual services, job search, resume prep. Our largest draw and attraction is our tuition reimbursement program. Again, one of our goals is to get our residents trained. So we pay for a wide variety of training programs. We will cover tuition, we will cover books, we will cover everything that individual needs for them to complete their required curriculum and then transition into the next stage of their career. We have 3 offices. Again, St. Charles, we're right here, 737 Paul Mallett Road. We have an office in St. John the Baptist Parish in LaPlace as well, and in St. James and Bashery. I'll just run through a quick list of some of the major successes that we had. One is we expended all of our funding, and the reason why that's a great accomplishment for us is because we are federally funded. And as you know, with federal funds, if you don't use it, you have to return it. We never want to give money back, so being able to expend those funds while staying within the parameters, regulations, and guidelines set forth by the federal government, that's always an accomplishment and something I'm very proud of. And also our performance measures. Every workforce area is graded. There are 13 workforce categories. We met or exceeded in each of those categories, which shows that we are thriving and that we are disseminating our funds in the proper pockets that allow us to get the best return on our investment. And that's major, because the way the federal funding is set up is you are reviewed on what you've done the previous year with the funding, and that kind of determines what sort of funding you'll receive in the following year. So with our performance measures and our performance numbers being in that range, it's a good indicator that we will see some sort of increase in our upcoming funding as the years progress. And then we also, and this is just an example of the performance measures when I spoke of how we exceeded all of those. So this is just the gains of some of the departments that we have. Our funding is broken down in 3 funding streams: adult, dislocated worker, and youth. But as you can see, adult 116%, dislocated we hit 107, youth we hit 148, so we almost doubled that one. Which again is just a true testament, again, not only to us and our parish, but also just the hard work, dedication, and success of our staff. Just a few more successes. We did expend all of our funding. A total amount of roughly $367,000 was direct payments that we made to training providers. We had 49 individuals that attended training and education. All of those individuals did graduate, did complete that curriculum, did transition into the next phase of their workforce journey as well. We also helped 156 employers, which was amazing. And I just want to touch on our services rendered, 15,666 services. Sounds like a lot, but that is every individual that comes into any office that needs anything. That technically counts as a service. So they can come, they can need to fax, they can request to print something out, but they could also need a resume. They can need soft skill training or something to that degree. The reason why I just think that that's a huge accomplishment is because it shows that we have frequency, we have traffic, we have residents that are coming in that are utilizing these services, and they deem these services helpful and imperative to them transitioning into and throughout the workforce, which is phenomenal. And also, we have our work experience program. This is a hugely successful program because it's basically paid work experience for individuals. A lot of times, people just say, look, I just want a job. I just want a summer job. Well, we have a work experience program, but it's composed a little bit different because a part of the component is when we scan and pre-screen these individuals for eligibility, we do an interest assessment survey, but also we take a look into their actual school classes, their actual grades, what type of curriculums are they taking, what are they interested in, and then we align them with work experience programs that correlate with that as well, so they can kind of get a head start as far as their career path and what it is that they would like to do after they graduate from high school. That is workforce development in a nutshell. We have had an extremely successful year. And again, that would not be possible without this council, President Jewell, his administrative staff, and everyone else, all of our mandated partners. And also, again, I would be remiss if I just didn't say that a lot of this success that you see is truly a part of the great team that we have and the individuals that come in and day out and are on the front line and help us serve our residents. That's all I have at this particular time, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Tommy, I noticed you didn't list ABC contractors in your partnerships, but I'm pretty sure you do work with them and try to feed them great
Yes, ma'am.
candidates.
Claire Obertel is actually on our workforce development board as well. So we do have a very, very strong relationship with them as well, and we definitely push individuals to utilize that, being that it's essentially our only apprenticeship school in the parish, so we definitely push individuals to take advantage of them. So yes, they are one of our partners. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Scott, I try to work with some of the youth, and I know you have these stats here, and they seem, there's 45,173 employees. Is that throughout the region?
Yes, okay. Ma'am, that's the
So
region.
that's everybody that's employed, not necessarily through your program. Okay. So basically what you're saying is that the opportunity here is very rich for people.
Absolutely.
However, the average wage, as we know, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So the the average wage of $42.50 is the average of all of those employees, not necessarily something that not starting. This is what the average.
It's average across the board,
Across the
and like 10-year seniority, those types of things would vary, but that's all factored into that. So it's just a snapshot.
Yes, I just don't want anybody to see this and think this is where they start.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's hard enough to get people to, get started, because it's really hard to get started. And a lot of things that you were talking about tonight with a lot of the acronyms and things like that, if I was to, talk to a young person that's interested in getting started in a job, what would I tell them to do?
They could come to our local office, which is on Paul Mallet Road in this particular case, or they could go to our website, which is www.letsworkriverparishes.com. That website has, all of the information detailing our department, but also if they are interested in pursuing a training opportunity, we do have a pre-screening eligibility form that they can print out and complete from that website as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Next on the agenda, 2024-0377, the Parish President remarks and report.
Thank you, Chairman. First, I want to give a shout out to Doug Sheremy, who's here at the governor's office. Appreciate you being here, Doug. And then Jake Benoit with Senator Kennedy's office. Jake, thanks for being here. First, I'll get started real quick with Sunset Auto Bar Screen Cleaners. Today, they passed the first test pile. It passed at 300% load. So the next test pile is going to be scheduled for its final test on Monday. Once those are complete, we can order all of the pilings for the project. Again, we need to know the exact length just in case it failed. So those can now be ordered. The crane bridge has been built. If you've been back there, they have the crane parked on the crane bridge. So the crane is in place to start the work on the bar screens. And then sea-level construction crews will be working during this time as well to widen the canal leading up to the pump station. They're going to be bringing in an excavator by barge within the next coming weeks. So that project is moving right along. Going over to Destrehan 2, I was told that the work has wrapped up today on Destrehan 2 pump station. And so my notes are a little bit off here because I said work will be wrapping up within the week. So it is wrapped up. The station has been functioning well for a couple of months now. So it's going to be time to celebrate this, the culmination of this project and its completion. So we're going to be planning a ribbon cutting in the coming weeks to just celebrate the improvements. We're also we're taking the opportunity to also do kind of a pump station open house. So we want the residents to come. We want them to come walk through the pump station, get a better understanding of how it works, when they turn on, when they turn off, and just take that as an opportunity to educate any residents who want to come by. And of course, we will make some educational videos about the station as well. So that information will come out. Again, we're going to be inviting the residents to come take a look at the station and to help us cut the ribbon on not only the completion of the pump station, but the Dunleith debottleneck, and more information to come on that. First floor renovation updates, just giving council an update on this project. We're kind of getting into the final stages of the project, doing the finishing touches. You can see that, cabinetry is going in. You can see that if you came up the stairs today, that handrails were installed on the stairs. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how we got this far, 50 years into this building without an incident happening there. Maybe there was one that I don't know about, but we have brought those handrails in and those stairs into compliance. All right, going next to the East Bank Waterworks IDA repairs. The repairs at the East Bank offices and storage building, the storage building reconstruction are complete after today. These two areas sustained significant damage during Hurricane Ida, so it was important that we got them built. Of course, as I said last week, we did a couple of new additions to the buildings to make them a little bit more resilient. And again, we added that portico or awning on the side there to help allow our crews to get out of the weather when they have to go back and restock on items at that warehouse. The final stage of our Waterworks IDA repairs is going to be that water intake structure that I mentioned last week. And I think that's on the next slide, Sam. All right, and so the contractor's moving along. They have stabilized the actual intake structure, and the anticipated completion date is 2025 in June, but I have heard that they are anticipating potentially 3 months sooner getting delayed. I'm not going to hold them to that because we all know things can happen. Thanksgiving basket assembly, our volunteers, as well as volunteers from DAL and Ameriprise, have been working at the community center, community services offices to assemble Thanksgiving baskets for our residents in need. These baskets contain all the essential ingredients for a traditional Thanksgiving meal, as well as the marshmallows for your sweet potato casserole. And they will be distributed to our residents in need leading up to next week's holiday. We are having a procurement auction coming up. We have queued up some items that will go to auction, and that auction goes live on Wednesday. Bids will be accepted this Wednesday through December 4th, only through www.publicsurplus.com/SMS/St. Charles Gov, LA/browse/home. It's on there as well. I'll let y'all read it on there before I read it again. But we want to thank our procurement office. It's always an important task, especially Thor Dufresne in the procurement office. He works really hard, working with the different offices and getting items that need to be auctioned off of the books and out of our yards, and gets that done. So thanks to them for doing that. And of course, if anybody wants to look at items that are going to be auctioned, you can go to that website. The National Weather Service Skywarn class at the EOC happened just last week. Our EOC hosted those folks, and that's through the public. It was open to the public through the National Weather Service. It taught our participants how to spot severe weather patterns and assist in reporting weather data. We want to thank our EOC for hosting that class, and for those who participated. Additionally, Animal Control held a training class that they really do every year. Our EOC hosted a week-long training class for animal control officers in St. Charles Parish, surrounding parishes, and as well as counties in Texas to help train and refresh ACOs on skills and regulations. Hosting this training helps educate professionals in the field significantly reduces travel expenses for our staff not having to go to Texas to take this class, and for us hosting it here. Next, we're just like recapping a couple of events that we had over the last week. Sheriff Champagne and I hosted our annual Veterans Luncheon at the Community Center on November 7th. It was well attended. We're very happy that we've been able to continue to grow this event every year. And we want to thank the Marine Corps Reserve Band, our guest speaker, Dr. Ken Ortling, the VFW and American Legion, and all of our council members who came and made this event possible. Veterans Day ceremony. Additionally, on Veterans Day, our local VFW and American Legion leaders hosted the Veterans Day ceremony at our Veterans Memorial Plaza. I'd like to thank them for putting that event on every year. That event used to take place in front of the courthouse until the Veterans Memorial Plaza was built, and now it has been there, and it's such a great place to hold it. Special thanks to the J.B. Martin Choir, as well as the band, J.B. Martin Band, for making the ceremony special for all those who attended. Some upcoming events. We have our senior Christmas luncheon. The tickets for this year's Christmas luncheon have all been claimed. If you have registered for a ticket and if you have registered for a ticket and can no longer attend, we do ask that you please call RSVP at 985-783-8907 to release your seat for that event and make sure that someone else can claim that seat. This event is always very popular with our seniors. We try to host as many as we can, and we have the community center maxed out with the number of people that we can host. If you're getting emails or phone calls about this, I'm sorry, but we're trying to do our best to make sure that we don't have to turn people away at the door. All right, another upcoming event is the Toy and Gift event that we host every year, along with Valero and other sponsors, United Way. We want our parents to mark their calendars for the 2024 Toy and Gift event that will be held on Saturday, December 14th at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. Bring your letters to Santa and your proof of residency and join us for a great day. This event is always a big hit, and it allows, especially our residents who maybe not have the funds to get everything they want to get their children for Christmas, an opportunity to add some presents under the tree. It's open to all kids in St. Charles Parish, ages 0 to 16. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to thank the administration, Mr. Jewell, Mr. Bingham, for the job that was done at Pump Station Number 2. For people who know what it does, it's a phenomenal piece of drainage infrastructure that we depend on in the Ormond watershed. Everything south of the CN tracks from South Destrehan all the way over to Sheck Snyder Lane is handled by that, plus about another 200 and something acres on the north side. It is an enormous asset for us, and the job well done. and it is over today. I talked to Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perrier. All righty, moving right along. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, December 2nd, 2024, 6 p.m., Council Chambers Courthouse in Hanville. 2024-0380, 2024-0381, 2024-0382, 2024-0383, 2024-0384, 2024-0385. Ordinances scheduled for public hearing introduced at a previous meeting. 2024-0362, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 2 to a professional services agreement with Ardam and Associates Incorporated to perform additional geotechnical services for the Evangeline Road and CN Road Box Culvert, project number P210701, to increase the lump sum fee by $8,700, increasing the overall contract amount to $33,700. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to satisfy the railroad. We had some additional analysis that they wanted done for the box culvert to stabilize their bank, and we ask your approval of this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2024-0362 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Miles, I want to thank you for it. I know this has been a thorn in your side every time they come up with something for you. I know originally it was an in-house project, and now because of the size and the capacity of it, we're going to do it. But I appreciate it, really. It's going to go right along with the once pump stations, so definitely good. Appreciate you staying on top of it too, Matt. I know it's been fun, so like you supported with it. So please cast your votes for file number 2024-0362. And that passes unanimously. All right, 2024-0366. An ordinance of the Parish of St. Charles providing that the Code of Ordinances, Parish of St. Charles, be amended by revising Section 15-5, Motor Vehicles and Traffic of said code to provide for the installation of one no parking sign on the north side of Alameda Plantation Drive in St. Rose from the corner of Johnson Street, extending 44 feet. Ms. O'Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This no parking sign, it says one no parking sign. I've talked to Mr. Bingham, and he's indicated that they'll take care of the parking signs as necessary under the traffic code. It's necessary because, believe it or not, this is the area where a lot of our bus drivers operate out of, and not only do they live there and operate their buses out of there, but they're also picking up children. And when they make that right-hand turn, they are practically tagging these vehicles that are on the corner, so this is necessary in order to allow for people to safely transverse that particular area, and appreciate y'all's support.
Thank you, Ms. O'Daniels. File number 2024-0366 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0366. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0367, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of an act of dedication for River Place Estates Phase 2 Hanville. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a final plat approval for 21 lots and acceptance of improvements for River Place Estates Phase 2. All required documentation has been submitted, all fees have been paid, and the subdivision is ready for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2024-0367 is now open for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, members of the council. I'm Joel Chasson, the developer. I'm here just to answer any questions, if you may have any. And I have my professional here as well. But I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chasson. Does anyone else like to come up and speak regarding this item? All right, seeing none, our public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0367. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0368, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to Ordinance 23-12-5, which approved the professional services agreement with Crescent Engineering and Mapping, LLC, to perform surveying services for the Crescent Engineering Boundary Survey Master Contract, project number P231101, in the amount not to exceed of $150,000. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a service that we've used very frequently this year in acquiring property. For these people, they do boundary surveys for us, and they also do some of the other work. And we have found this to be very useful in getting our projects done, and we'd appreciate your support in passing this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bingham. File number 2024-0368 is now open for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0368. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0369, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to the Professional Services Agreement with Alpha Testing and Inspections Incorporated for testing services for the Desalmans Phase 1 Bulkhead, project number P210601, in the amount not to exceed of $8,000, increasing the overall contract value to $65,000. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This one, amendment is to take care of the testing that was needed to put the permanent cap on the bulkhead from the emergency repair, and we would appreciate your support for this.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2024-0369 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, our public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0369. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0370, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with Brian Hammond Associates, LLC, to perform surveying services for the Willowdale Boulevard Overlay and Widening, project number P240602, in the lump sum amount of $61,385. Mr. Bingham.
Seems to be my night, doesn't it?
It's your night, Mr. Bingham.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a survey so that we can start this project. It will be looking at widening and overlaying that area, which is desperately needed at this point. It's a little narrow, but it also needs to be overlaid. So we start with the survey, and we would appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2024-0370 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right. Seeing none, our public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Pillier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just need a little clarification. I know that on the capital projects report, there is a project P160302-2, which says Willowdale Boulevard Overlay and Widening. East Heather to US 90. I think this one's a little bit further into the subdivision, but there's a different project number, and I looked at even the budget, and there are two different. One was improvements, 100,000. The other one was architectural and engineering. Can you kind of clear this up for me?
Sure.
Am I missing something?
No, you're not missing something.
Okay.
There was a project for this, that it pre-existed this administration, so we came back and started the project over with this new number because we're doing the surveying that should have been done to start that project.
It appears to go a little bit further than the original scope. It goes all the way into.
We do go a little bit further, but we want to gather some information while we're doing the survey. There is another project that talked about doing some drainage for Davis Plantation.
Got it.
And this will gather that information as well since we're doing the survey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Perrier. Any further council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0370. And that passes unanimously. Okay. A motion and a second is needed to deviate from the regular order of the agenda to take up file number 2024-0386 and 2024-0387, matters not on the agenda. 2024-0386 is a resolution authorizing the publication of a notice of intent to create Luling Bridge Economic Development District Number 1 of the Parish of St. Charles, the state of Louisiana, under the authority of Part 2, Chapter 27 of Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, LARS 339038.3, and providing for other matters in connection therefore with. 2024-0387 is a resolution affirming and implementing the findings and conclusions of the Department of Waterworks 2024 Water Rate Study. I have a motion by Mr. Bruyere, second by Ms. Skiba, to deviate from the regular order of the agenda to take up file number 2024-0386 and 2024-0387. Is there anyone like to come up and speak on the deviation? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public comment on the deviation is closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Perrier.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The only one I was a little alarmed by, and that's really a bad word. I mean, we get to the last minute before these meetings and we have, a vote to divert from the normal agenda on some of these things, yet we don't even have time to really read. I mean, I looked at the Waterworks District Number 1, not that I see anything that's objectionable, but there are some other people that had provided some more info, but the revised version, it was sort of like looking for, that comic figure, Where's Waldo? I was having a hard time finding Waldo, and I didn't have much time to do it, but I would hope that we can avoid doing this in the future, and give us more time to do our research, and really, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Ms. O'Daniels.
Well, first, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a point of order, or motioning to deviate from the agenda. I think we should do it separately. There's two separate matters here. Deviating from the agenda should not be taken lightly. So I would ask that we would separate these. I know it's going to take a little bit more time, but I think it's important. And I have to echo Mr. Pile's thoughts on the last minute. I did have an opportunity to read both and all the documents, but it does create for quite a rush, and hopefully we can avoid that in the future. Thank you.
Sure I have this right.
So you're just going to do the steps twice.
We'll do it twice. Okay. All right. So on Ms. O'Daniels' request to deviate, take up each one individually, I guess we can do that.
So just state which one you're going to take up.
Okay. So we'll state, we'll take up the 2024-0386, the resolution authorizing the publication of a notice of intention to create the Luling Bridge Economic Development District 1 of the Parish of St. Charles, under the authority of Part 2, Chapter 27, Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950 as amended, and providing for other matters. So please cast your votes on this deviation only.
This is still reading Brian Hammond.
I can't,
She
I
can't
can't
move
select
this
the
one.
item until you approve the deviation.
Okay. Okay, that motion is unanimously. Do we need a vote on the second one also to take it up?
No, let's go through the whole.
Let's go through the whole process. Okay. So, all right, 2024-0386. Resolution authorizing the publication of a notice of intention to create Luling Bridge Economic Development District 1 of the Parish of St. Charles, the state of Louisiana, under the authority of Part 2, Chapter 27, Title 33 of Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, Louisiana RS 339038.3, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Fauché.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It wasn't that long ago that we started this, or went down this process to create the Highway 90 district. What you have before you is simply just a resolution that will state your intent to start the approval process. The first step is to actually put notice in the newspaper, and we have to advertise that for 2 weeks. It will then be follow up with an ordinance that will actually create the district. So we will have ample time to meet with everyone and to talk more about the project itself. Just to let you know, on the second page on the resolution, we also have to advertise the boundaries of the proposed district, and that's what you see there. It is at the entrance of Ashton Plantation at River Road. So again, this is the first step of a long process where we will have ample time to meet and talk about the project itself and what we want out of the district. But again, this first step is only to advertise the intent to create the district.
Thank you, Mr. Fauché.
Thank you.
File number 2024-0386 is now open for public comment. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public comment is now closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Carmadell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Corey, you said that the map shows the boundaries.
On Exhibit A,
the
yeah.
resolution says from West Bank, including West Bank Bridge Park to Edward Dufresne Community Center. The map only shows the south side of 310. It doesn't show the full area.
Correct. So
make sure to get that addressed before this goes public.
Well, no, it actually, if you look at the part of the resolution, you talked about, what section was that? Section 5? No.
Section 1.
Section 1, I'm
Therefore
sorry.
be resolved, St. Charles Parish, intent to create economic development. Scroll down the paragraph, it says, including but not limited to construction, maintaining infrastructure improvements, nearby parish-owned lands, including but not limited to the roadways, West Bank Bridge Park, and Edward Dufresne Community Center.
Correct.
The map doesn't show that area. Can we get a map showing all of that put in?
But the map, just to be clear, the map is showing the area that's going to be included within the district. If at some point in time we choose to levy any tax within that district, those funds can be used in the adjacent public assets, which is what is included in Section 1.
Okay.
You follow me?
I'd still like to see something showing that area that funds can be used in.
Okay.
The entire thing.
Okay. Yeah. And again, those are all things that's gonna come in the next phases when we, depending on what we approved and how we choose, if any, to choose to spend funding.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Fonseca.
Corey, I'd just like to echo what Councilman Pillier and Councilwoman O'Daniel said. Getting these, Thursday evening.
Oh, agreed.
And it wasn't just yours, there was another one.
Right.
And then multiple correspondence after that on both creates a lot of confusion and a lot of undue pressure on our staff to get everything correct for this meeting. So if it is not critical in the future, we would prefer not to have to deviate in this manner.
I understand, and one of the reasons why, in my last emails I tried to send everyone all the steps that are gonna take place. This is gonna move forward all the way into the first quarter of next year. So that's why this first step, I didn't think it was that bad of a step to take tonight, because this is just not gonna commit you to anything but to start that first step, which is to publish it in the local newspaper, and that's it.
Ms. O'Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Fauché.
Yes.
Can you enlighten me on, I've read everything, and this red area, the one that's the Economic Development District,
That's gonna actually be the boundaries of the district.
the boundaries of the district. And then whatever funds or taxation in that district can be spent on public land as identified in Section 1, is that the intent?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But in all of this can be changed as we go down that approval process.
Correct, but your draft proposed, publication as well as your request is coming up quickly, December 16th. So this is what you envision asking us to approve at some point through an ordinance?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I just want to understand what
Yes.
we're talking about.
Yes, ma'am. This is gonna be followed up with an ordinance,
Okay.
which will be, right now, the plan is to introduce that ordinance at the next meeting, which is the second, right? No, this has to, I'm sorry, this has to be advertised for 2 weeks. Then we're gonna advertise, bring it to the council on the 2nd, and then take the vote on the 16th. That's the schedule.
You indicate that these boundaries are fluid in some way or can be fluid?
No, ma'am, no,
Okay.
ma'am. The boundaries will be what you see in red.
Okay, so,
Any additional spending that's done, that's what may be fluid.
okay, thank you. That's what I was
Yes.
trying to figure out. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Corey, I'm going to echo what my fellow council people talk about, timing, the undue pressure, but I also want to go through and echo what Mr. Carmadell says. You have an exhibit, A, the notice of intent to resolution, and you refer to it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in this resolution.
Correct.
But you have the defining of the boundary, right? So not limited to financing, improving structures at the parish, nearby owned lands and facilities, West Bank Bridge Park, DuPont Community Center. Proposed economic district shall have boundaries described in Exhibit A to this resolution. Exhibit A, the one I have, maybe I don't have the updated one, but the community center is not even included on the picture. The West Bank Bridge Park is it? And I guess it's, maybe I'd have to talk to them.
Chairman, I just want to mention, so the boundary that they're drawing, because with an economic development district, you create a physical district, just like we did on Highway 90. So on Highway 90, for the example we use there, anybody within that district can take advantage of that tax benefit that we talked about. If they are outside the district, they cannot take advantage of the tax. Same thing here. Any business located inside of that economic development district that you see in red on the exhibit, if we were to impose a TIF, which would be a tax incremental financing, which if the council would approve, would allow an additional tax to be levied within there, in that area, that additional tax could be used at the places that are listed adjacent.
In Section 1.
In Section 1. If you draw those areas into that district and then create a tax incremental financing district in there, for example, concessions at the West Bank Bridge Park would include additional tax. So that's why those are not drawn in that district, but are listed as potential beneficiaries of the district.
Eligible projects.
Beneficiaries.
Yes.
Thank you,
And that's
Mr.
the portion that if you guys wanted to say, you know, whatever other building in St. Charles Parish could go in there is what Corey was talking about, could be the fluid part of it, but not the actual boundaries of the district themselves. That is set.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jewell. I appreciate the explanation on that, so. Is there any further council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0386. Okay, and that motion passes unanimously. Okay, I guess we have to go through the whole process again, huh?
Since she wants to do them
Okay,
separately, you might
we'll
have
do
to
it like that.
return and then deviate.
All righty, so since we're going to do it separate, I need a motion and a second to return to the regular order of the agenda. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca and second by Mr. Brouillet to return to the regular order of the agenda. Please cast your votes. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. All right, a motion and a second is needed to deviate from the regular order of the agenda to take up file number 2024-0387, matters not on the agenda. I have a motion by Mr. Carmadell and second by Mr. O'Daniels. This is a resolution affirming and implementing the findings and conclusions of the Department of Waterworks 2024 rate study. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this deviation? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public comment on the deviation is closed. Is there any council discussion on the deviation? Seeing none, please cast your votes on the deviation only. Oh, I apologize. Hold up for a minute. Mr. Pillier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, I'd read the emails that gone back and forth before the first introduction of the document, and whereby I don't have any real concern with the document itself. Is there an urgency here? I know Mr. Jewell said that we are asking the council to adopt on Monday as a requirement set by the state to maintain our water rating and grade. Is there an urgency to doing so, whereby we have to bring this in as a, diversion from our normal agenda?
We were going to take all of these at the same time. As you saw in my email reply to to Ms. Fonseca, there's this component of it, which basically this is saying, we did a water rate study. There's really nothing in the water rate study that's bad. It's actually good. We're charging what we need to. The state is asking that anyone who wants to get any water sector money from them, anybody who wants to maintain their grade has to have a rate study, because they want to make sure that the state is no longer funding these failing water systems throughout the state. In other words, you have systems that are they're not charging enough money to even cover the cost of production, let alone the cost of actually putting money back into the actual systems themselves. So 2 components of this were not only this component, which is really just kind of a formality that we've done a rate study and we agree with the findings. The second component is the introduction of changes to actual fees within our water rate structure, not a product or recommendation of the water rate study per se, but changes that we need to make for what costs that we are incurring versus what costs we are charging. The reason we wanted to break these two up is because we know that the other portion of this is much more complex. We've asked to have I guess this would be a legislative committee hearing on this, and then, vote on it at the second meeting. So we really only did this to kind of save a little bit of time for the larger conversation, which were going to be the fee changes to Waterworks, not the changes to the rate, although we will propose a change to the rating, to the billing tiers.
Appreciate the explanation. That said, is there some deadline that we're shooting for, either for the purposes of meeting state obligations or our own local budget requirements?
Greg, I think it's before the end of the year, correct?
Yeah, this is Greg Gordon, Department of Waterworks. So as part of the accountability rule, we are required to submit certain documentation to the Louisiana Department of Health. One of them is a rate study done once every 5 years. It is due in January. However, since we are, again, this is, I hate to call it a check the box for the state formality, but that's what this is. We get a certain amount of points as part of that grade when we turn this in. We didn't last time. It's probably a good thing to turn it in. It only has to be done once every 5 years. Also, considering some of the changes that Parish President Jewell brought up, they're talked about in there in the water rate study about changing those tiers. And it's minimal impact on our revenues. So we would kind of be covered for that, and then it would be done. There's another portion of the accountability rule, which is basically, it's an idea of, the idea behind it is parish president, parish council, everyone kind of knows what's going on with water rates, just so, as Parish President Jewell said, many local governments come back to the state after a while when their system is failing. Ours is not. We have a perfectly great system. They say they have no money, and they kind of feign ignorance as to what was happening. So that's the idea behind the water accountability rule, is that you turn in a rate study that says you have more than enough money to meet all your obligations.
Okay. Ms. O'Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gordon, I guess the operative language in this resolution is that we, the council, affirm and implement the findings and conclusions of the 2024 water rate study. President Jewell indicated this bifurcated situation where we're going to be talking about the study and submitting the study, and then at some point we're going to talk about rates. But there's also was some reference to changing the tiers. Tonight, if we say yes to this, no, that's going to be addressed at a later date?
Yeah, it's not, basically what you're saying, and again, I'm using the words implementing because they're listed in the accountability rule, what the state would like to say. Where ostensibly why this is, we're implementing the current rate structure that we have. We're basically saying right now, the rate structure that we use is making more than enough money to handle all of our obligations and our daily maintenance. We're recognizing that, and we're telling the state that we're recognizing it. I know it seems kind of obtuse, but it is something that the Louisiana Department of Health would like, and it is in the accountability rule, which is in state law.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm just trying to make sure we're not missing anything, and I know that we probably aren't, but we're all new. I mean, not all of us, but some of us are new.
I know.
And when I see the word implement and I see a change in the tiers, I think this is what we're working on right now.
And Parish President Jewell mentioned this in an email, and just right now, we're going to make some positive changes for the customers. It's going to be much better. However, at the same time, since we have to kind of line up what we have to turn into the state, we have to do this, we have our audit, we have a number of other things that we have to turn into the portal. And you want to get the stuff into the portal as quickly as you can, because if they do have any questions and they answer back to you, they want an answer, you have to get back to them. Last time we did this last year, it took them 5 months, and they said a question to us. We answered that, and they said, well, we're not going to give you the points anyway, even though you successfully answered the question. So I want to try to get things done.
Okay, so we're just trying to submit and get ahead of the game so you can answer those questions before the end of the year. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Daniels. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greg, is this a template resolution that the state provides?
Well, I know I wrote it, but it just, again, I basically, in utilizing the language that they have in their bullet points, they highlight the word implement. like to try to use
Right,
that.
and again, getting this on a Thursday night and reading the study and seeing and implement, and
Yes.
we don't have a proposal on what's gonna be implemented, but I'm hearing just the tier is gonna be changed. There's not gonna be a proposed change to lower the cap.
You're asking? So, well,
Either of you.
I'd like to, I'd like to just, first I want to just say, I apologize for submitting this to the council. We did not think that this was going to become this big of a deal, because we were thinking more along the lines that the ordinances, and remember, we cannot change any fees via resolution. It's just outside of the charter, we cannot do it. The council has to approve ordinances to change any fees, or levy any fees to the public. And so, knowing that this was a formality, we wanted to get this portion out of the way and focus on kind of the meat and potatoes of it, which is going to be the ordinances that we introduce. So, again,
Yeah, and again,
nothing tonight is going to change any water rate structure, any tier, or anything. It's basically us just telling the state, we did a water rate study, we agree with the findings, please give us our points for these future grants. And when we introduce the actual ordinances, and again, we want to, on the date of introduction, we actually want to have a committee hearing, because we know there will be a lot of questions on it. We feel like that will make this process easier going to that second meeting in December, a lot easier. The only reason we're trying to get this implemented before January 1st is because we do have an automatic rate adjustment in January as per ordinance. But no, we don't have there's nothing in this where we're actually changing the water rate tiers or the cap.
It's the conclusion, basically.
What's that?
It's part of the conclusion,
No, I get that.
right,
but
of what could be implemented.
could be implemented, right. It's basically a rate study to say, hey, these are some potential changes. By adopting this, we're not adopting those changes.
Right, not via resolution, but the resolution says implementing the findings, which I
Well,
think.
we're implementing the findings. The finding is that we are
rates.
financially solvent.
Okay, this is just to vote on the deviation, so I'll save my other comments.
Okay. Mr. Jewell, do you have anything else?
Oh, I have plenty, but I'm not gonna say them.
Want to hold it for the next one?
Maybe so.
Okay. All right, Mr. Pillier.
Mr. Jewell, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Jewell, appreciate the explanation. Mr. Gordon, appreciate that as well. One thing that would be helpful for us, because some of us truly do try to read all this stuff, if we get something at the last minute, it's a revision. In the future, could they identify where the changes are? I know in industry, that's what would happen in a revision. And that
Yeah,
would be
there was.
helpful.
There's one point, actually, Councilman Fonseca found it. It was a typo in section 3.6 from 15 years to 20 years. It was just a depreciation schedule note.
So that's Waldo. Thank you.
That is Waldo. Yes, sir.
All righty. Any other council discussion? All right, please cast your votes on the deviation only. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. All right. 2024-0387, a resolution affirming and implementing the findings and conclusions of the Department of Waterworks 2024 Water Rate Study. Mr. Gordon.
Yes, sir. So ditto all the aforementioned discussion on the water rate study. Also want to say, though, thank you, Councilman Fonseca. She brought up some good points and some questions. Again, we are just affirming the current rate schedule. We are telling Louisiana Department of Health that we conducted a water rate study. We have good, solid financial backing in terms of our rates. It allows us to operate and meet all of our bond obligations and to meet all of our day-to-day maintenance costs and operations and our capital project needs. The All South, Melanie Caillouette, who did this, did a great job. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have about it. Further is that, as Parish President Jewell brought up, we are going to take up some of these other issues that has to be in an ordinance format. The idea also behind that is when we have to get this stuff into the portal, should that other process engender some other discussions and some other time, it would be better to have this done so it is not, and we can submit that when we make those other changes, however long they may take, they'll be done at their own pace appropriately.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. File number 2024-0387 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, back to what we were discussing earlier. Being asked to accept the report, I took the time to read it, and I'm very happy, by the way, that it was done. I think it, as I mentioned in my email, it demonstrates that this and previous administrations and councils have moved in the right path. And so it does make two conclusions, one being that, we can increase the tier, but also that the cap that the council implemented, I believe it was last December, of 2.5% annual increase maximum, is probably more than adequate, and it could possibly be decreased to 2%. So the revision, the latest revision, the other, just hopefully it's just a typo and doesn't affect the financials. I don't think it probably does affect them, but it's still not correct in our supplemental. So page 17 still says 15 years if the intention is that they both be 20.
So I printed out the most recent one. So for the life greater than 15 years and is recovering investment monies and bond issue, short-term depreciation items with a life greater of 20 years. So ostensibly by what we're trying to, when we said that, is, it shouldn't be, I guess I'm trying to figure out what you are saying it should say, 15 and 20, both be 20 or?
Page 2 says that it's 20 years. Short-term is a depreciation on equipment which has a useful life of 20 years or less. Long-term is more than 20 years. Page 17 is saying something different, and it hasn't been corrected. So just pointing that out.
All right.
Again, I don't think it,
So, and
I
also,
didn't
just so
think it
you know, though,
materially-
I want to let you know this, so this is actually a good thing to bring up. So really what it is, though, is that we are actually, by utilizing the 20 years and assigning that to the most of our short-term repairs, we are actually we are going towards renewals and replacements quicker than most people do. We're trying to take care of our renewals and replacements out of our revenues versus trying to take a long time and waiting to the end and saying, I need to do a bond issuance and need to borrow a lot of money because we didn't take care of things.
I would think that would be the opposite of what you just said, to be honest with you. We could talk about that
All
on
right,
the
yeah,
side.
that'd be more.
So that's all. Again,
Yeah.
just reviewing it, having the revisions, and getting it at the last minute. We hope to not have to do it again if it's not critical.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Is there any further council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0387. Okay, and that motion passes unanimously. All right, a motion and a second is needed to return to the regular order of the agenda. I have a motion by Mr. Daniels, second by Mr. Bruyere. Please cast your votes. Okay, that motion passes unanimously to return to the regular order agenda. Next up, appointments. 2024-0345, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Board of Adjustments as the District 1 representative. Council Chairman will accept the nominations from the District 1 council member to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Ms. Olivia Tate. Four-year term to begin December 7, 2024, and expire December 7, 2028. Ms. Tate has served 2 consecutive terms and cannot be reappointed. Ms. Lysandra Wilson, do you have a nominee?
I'm actually going to defer it until the next meeting.
Okay, we're going to defer that to the next meeting. All right, 2024-0346, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Board of Adjustments as a District 3 representative. The council chairman will accept nominations from the District 3 council member to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Webb J. Four-year term to begin December 7, 2024, and expire December 7, 2028. Mr. J has served 2 consecutive terms and cannot be reappointed. Mr. Pierre, do you have a nomination?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I do. Mr. Jeremy Martin, please.
Jeremy Martin?
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Yes, sir.
A motion, a second is needed to close nominations. I have a motion by Ms. O'Daniel, second by Mr. Bruyere. Please cast your votes to close nominations. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0347, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Board of Adjustments as the District 7 representative. Council Chairman will accept nominations from the District 7 council member to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. James Robert, a 4-year term to begin December 7, 2024, and expire December 7, 2024. Mr. Bruyere, do you have a nominee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to nominate Dwayne Lorio as the Board of Adjustment for District 7 representative.
Okay, I have Dwayne Lorio. I need a motion and a second to close nominations. I have a motion by Ms. O'Daniel, second by Mr. Carmadell. Please cast your votes to close nominations. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0378, accept the resignation of Mr. James Joseph Kreitcher, Jr., St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, District 3 representative. Please cast your votes to accept the resignation of Mr. James Joseph Kreitcher, Jr. on the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission, District 3 representative. And that passes unanimously. Okay, this is just an announcement. 2024-0379, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission as the District 3 representative. On Monday, December 2nd, 2024, the council chairman will accept nominations from the District 3 council member to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of the term of Mr. James Joseph Kreitcher, Jr. Unexpired term to begin immediately and expire May 31st, 2024. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. The Library Board of Control, Tuesday, November 19th, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Hospital Service District Number 1, Wednesday, November 20th at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. The Board of Adjustment, the ZBA, Thursday, November 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. The Housing Authority, Tuesday, November 26th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. And the St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Announcements, important dates for the December 7th, 2024 election. Friday, November 22nd, 2024, and Saturday, November 23rd, 2024. Monday, November 25th to Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, and Saturday, November 30th, 2024. Closed Sunday, November 24th. The hours are going to be 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. The West Bank location is the courthouse, 15045 River Road, Hanville. The East Bank is the Audiberry Building, 14564 River Road, New Sarpy. Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, will be the last day to request absentee by mail ballots. Friday, December 6, 2024, is the last day for the register to receive voted absentee ballots. Saturday, December 7, 2024, will be Election Day. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The parish holiday is Thursday, 11/28, and Friday, 11/29, 2024, for the Thanksgiving holiday. The Norco Christmas Parade will be Sunday, December 1st, 2024, at 1 p.m. in Norco. Special matters to be considered by the council. 2024-0348 is to adopt the 2024 Parish Council meeting schedule. There's a revised version of the Parish Council 2024 meeting schedule. The revision is on page 64 in your supplement. Would anyone like an amendment to the Parish Council meeting schedule? Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'd like to make a change to the January 21st meeting. Parish President Jewell and Samantha DeCastro brought to my attention this morning that members of the administration and council will be in Washington, D.C. for that date. So really all that it requires is to push that and the subsequent two meetings back by week. So the dates would be January 21st would change to January 27th. February 3rd would change to February 10th. And February 17th would change to February 24th. Thank you.
That's the 28th, you said.
February
last meeting?
17th would change to the 24th.
24th.
Yes.
Okay, pretty good. I need a motion and a second to amend the council schedule to move the 21st meeting to the 27th, the February 3rd meeting to the February 10th, the February 17th meeting to the 7th, to the, is that the 24th? 24th. Okay. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Ms. Skiba. Okay. So that motion's that. So amendment to file, okay. Amendment to file number 2024-0348 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, our public comment is closed. Please cast your votes on the amendment. All right, that passes unanimously. File number 2024-0348 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, the public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Do you want to speak anymore? No? Okay. All right, seeing none, please cast your votes to adopt the 2025 Parish Council meeting schedule as amended. And that passes unanimously. All right, 2024-0371, accept nominations for the presiding officer for the 2025 Chairman, St. Charles Parish Council. With confirmation will be December 2nd, 2024. I need a nomination. I would like to nominate Ms. Holly Fonseca as the chairman for the 2025 year. So I have Ms. Holly Fonseca as the nominee. I need a motion and a second to close nominations. I have a motion by Mr. Bruyere.
Point of order.
You need to read Rule 40. Rule 40, you need to make a, prior to the motion to close nominations, the officer shall verbally confirm that all members have had an opportunity to submit their nominations.
Okay, so we'll step back. I have Ms. Holly Fonseca as our nominee. Does anyone else have a nominee? Has everyone had opportunity? Okay. Have we fulfilled our legal agreement? Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Bruyere and a second by Mr. Carmadell. Is that still standing? Okay. Please cast your votes to close nominations. Okay. Closed nominations have passed unanimously. Okay, 2024-0372, accept nominations. Presiding officer for the 2025 Vice Chairman, St. Charles Parish Council, to be confirmed on December 2nd, 2024. I need a nomination. Ms. O'Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Walter Pele for Vice Chairman for 2025.
Ready? Mr. Walter Pierre. Is there any other nominees? Has everyone else had an opportunity? All right, I need a motion and a second to close nominations. I have a motion by Mr. Carmadell, second by Mr. Bruyere. Please cast your votes to close the nomination. And that passes unanimously. All right, I need a motion and a second to adjourn. All right, I have a motion by Ms. O'Daniels, second by Ms. Skiba. Please cast your votes to adjourn.
We still have an ordinance. No, to make the, like, control.
All right, it passes unanimously. On behalf of the Parish Council, we hope everyone has a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Have a great evening. We're officially adjourned.
What's that?